Well, I have been a great Mendelssohn lover for ages. I think I'm the only violinist, by the way, who performed the complete Mendelssohn chamber music many years ago, also in Cologne at the time. His personality somehow for me was always a role model, because he is the romantic composer with all his longing, with the longing of the century, who somehow manages to reach happiness in his music. He reaches really happy goals, where most other romantic composers end in tragedy, actually. They all have this longing, but Mendelssohn is the great exception in the Romantic era. He is just fulfilling the joy of his longing. And that's what he wanted to point out also in his religious compositions, this strong longing to be reunited as mankind. And all his compositions reach this goal of fulfillment, happiness and peace. Being a violinist, I think my first encounter with Mendelssohn was the violin concerto, which I played already as a kid, and actually I won my big first competition with it. When I discovered the sacred music by Mendelssohn, again, of course, the most famous are the big oratorios, but then there are these wonderful works which we are publishing now and which are not very well known, not being performed very often in concert and rarely recorded, and which is sort of a personal diary. We know that Mendelssohn was carrying along the scores for these choral cantatas and psalm cantatas with him wherever he traveled, and he was in between always composing and he was very serious about it. He was changing scores again, but it was like a personal spiritual diary, and it always has the same meaning. It's the longing to be reunited with God, with mankind, with nature, with everything. And it always reaches these moments of consolation, of hope and peace. And the first volume, it contains these three, the biggest Psalm Cantatas, very dramatic. The most famous one, Wie der Hirsch, schreit, nach frischem Wasser. It's probably the cantata which is most performed in concert, also which many people might know. But the others are quite unknown, and that was one of my intentions, to make this music accessible, because it's so incredibly beautiful. And of course, to understand Mendelssohn, it's very important, but the most important is that we can enjoy this amazing music. And for the singers, I mean, Mendelssohn was great to write for instrument, but he was also great to write for the human voice. And to record this with the fantastic WDR Radio Choir in Cologne and wonderful soloists, and with the Cologne Chamber Orchestra, with whom I have really worked for many years, was a great joy, and I think we found a real Mendelssohn sound. Of course, we have been thinking for a long time how to combine, how to arrange these altogether 13 cantatas on 2 CDs. I always think if we put these CDs together, it would be wonderful if people have the chance to really listen not only to individual titles, but to the whole program of a CD. That's why I put together these more dramatic and these more peaceful, like interludes in this case. So it's more a concept of how I would present a concert by really keeping the listener alert. Well, I think Mendelssohn music in general, and particularly these works which we publish here, match very well with our times. Because, I mean, all around the world we are confronted with problems and with increasing crisis everywhere. And what Mendelssohn wants to give is hope, trust, confidence, the faith in love, the faith that love is possible, and peace is possible. Therefore, it is a very personal message which can reach every listener in a very personal way, and I think it's giving us a lot of new energy.